What's up, everybody? This is Domingo Hero Network, and today's Yu-Gi-Oh video I'm going to be doing, guys, I'm going to show you my deck profile on Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel. I'm going to be showing you guys my Familiar Possessed Charmer deck profile right here on Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel. So let's not waste any time. So without further ado, let's get this deck profile started. So here we go. Now, of course, this deck profile is a little bit more different than the Familiar Possessed Charmer I have in real life. Because you know how I mentioned in my thoughts and my opinions on that Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel that they have a balance, but is a little bit more different than the balance that we have in the TCG in real life. Just to let you guys know, so some of the cards that are in this deck are gonna be a little bit different than the ones I have in real life. So let's get this started. So here we go. All right. So the first card we got right here, is one copy of Max C. Yes, Max C is actually legal in this game. So you can actually play Max C in this game. Of course, this card is currently banned in the TCG, so in real life. So in the game, of course, the hand trust that I play in my Charmer deck in real life is the 3 copies of Ash Blossom. So of course, I do play 2 copies of Ash Blossom. Speaking of Ash Blossom, 2 copies of Ash Blossom, Joy Spring, pretty good hand track to play. Of course, in my Familiar Possessed deck profile in real life, I play 3. So yep. Of course, I do play 2 in this deck just to put the Maxi, because you know Maxi is legal in Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So 2 Ash Blossom, really good hand track to play. And for the Familiar Possessed monsters I play, 1 copy of Familiar Possessed Ulsa, 1 copy of Familiar Possessed Area, 1 copy of Familiar Possessed Hita, 1 copy of Familiar Possessed Wind, 1 copy of Familiar Possessed Darks, and also I play the animal cards to help out with this deck. 1 copy of Inaugural Fire, 1 copy of Necrophilius Archer Eaters of Necrophiliusness. Well, 2 copies of the Necrophilius Archer and Necrophilius. I played 2 of these, I'm sorry. 1 copy of Gigabyte, 1 copy of Familiar Possessed Lina. So I do play 1 of each of the Familiar Possessed monsters. 2 copies of Fairy Tale Lunas. Of course, Fairy Tale Luna is the heart and soul in this deck for Charmers, because it's a really good searcher. Since the Familiar Possessed Charmer has 1850 attack as well, which is pretty cool. 1 copy of Ram Ryu. 3 copies of Ita the Sun Magician. Ita is really good in this deck. It really helped out the deck a lot. It's really good. 1 copy of Fairy Tale Rashka. Rashka is actually pretty good as well, because of course you can force your opponent to look at the top 3 cards when this card is normal. So your opponent get 500, and then your opponent look at the top 3 cards in your deck, and then they could choose 1 of them, and they'll add that card to your hand. The other 2 shuffle to the deck. So it's really good. I like playing the 2 Fairy Tales of Luna and the Rashka, because it did really help a lot, especially with Rashka. So that way you can force your opponent to look at the top 3 cards and then add it to your hand and stuff. Now for the Awakening Possessed monsters, I play 1 copy of the Awakening Possessed Necrophiliusness, and 1 copy of the Awakening Possessed God Gigabyte. Now these are the only ones that I play, because I love these effects of both of these, because especially if you go first, you can actually get both of these effects. This one special summon a level 4 monster in the graveyard. This one discards 1 random card in your opponent's hand, then after that both players draw 1 card. It's pretty good. So it's really nice to play these 2 cards. And of course you can special summon these cards from your hand or deck. So even if you have this card in your hand and you don't want to draw it, you can still special summon it. Of course, you need to have 1 spellcaster and another monster with the respective attribute. Like for example, Awakening of the Possessed Necrophilius or Archfiend is an Earth attribute, while the God Gigabyte is a Water attribute. That's it for the monsters. So for the spells, 1 copy of Bright Genki. Of course, this card is limited to 1 in this game, but in the TCG in real life, this card is actually at 3. So yeah. So hopefully in the future they can give us a new ban list on Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel. So yeah, in the future. So yeah. Next we got 1 copy of the Harvey's Feather Duster. I'm sorry, excuse me. 1 copy of Harvey's Feather Duster. 1 copy of Monster Reborn. 1 copy of Terraforming. 3 copies of Secret Village of Spellcaster. Since most of your monsters are Spellcaster monsters, Secret Village really helped out a lot, because once you control a Spellcaster monster, your opponent cannot activate any spells. And next we got 3 copies of Awakening of the Possessed, one of my favorite cards in this deck, and one, not to mention, the best card for the Familiar Possessed Charmer, because monsters you control gain 300 attack points for each different attributes monsters you control. Charmers and familiar possessed monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. And also with a spellcaster with 1850 original attack as normal special summon from to your field, you draw one card. Of course, the drawing effect is a hard once per turn. So this card is pretty good. You know, you draw a card. You could protect. Of course, this card protects your Charmers and familiar possessed monsters from being destroyed by card effects. And then but the first effect is the best one because it's a really good beat stick. Monsters you control gain 300 attack for each different attributes you control. So that's pretty good because once you control monsters with different attributes, they can gain more attack points. If you got like 2 or 3 of these on your side of the field, it gains more attack points and more beat stick. That's why in my opinion, you got to play like 3 of these cards because this is the best. It's one of the best cards for Charmers. Next, we got 2 copies of Called by the Grave. Now, in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, this card is semi-limited to 2, but in the TCG in real life, it's limited to 1. So it's pretty cool that we got Called by the Grave. It's 2 in this game. Maybe in the future we can get that relay. Who knows? Next, we got 3 copies of Spirit Charmer, one of the most important cards you need in this deck. Of course, you discard card, take 2 cards for your deck with different attributes. You know, that are Charmer monsters, familiar possessed monster, and slash or possessed spells and traps. Add one into your hand and set the other one. Of course, you can only activate spell turns once per turn, so it's pretty good. Next, we got 3 copies of Possessed Partnership. Partnership is really good as well. I like this card. You know, special summon the spellcaster amount 1500 defense. And then if you control like 2 or more monsters with different attributes, you can destroy one face-up card in the field. And then the third effect, you can banish card in the grave, target a possessed continuous spell and trap in your graveyard, place it face up to your field. So, but you only can activate one possessed partnership effect per turn and only once that turn. So it's a very, very hard once per turn. So yeah, it's really good. Next, we got 1 copy, and I do play the Solemn Brigade. Of course, 1 copy of Solemn Warning, 2 copies of Salt Strike, 1 copy of Skill Drain. I know Skill Drain is at 3 in this game and also in real life. I might put it up to 3, but I mean it was okay at 1 to be honest, but I might put it up to 3 because Skill Drain is really, really good. So yeah, the fact that this card is at 3 is amazing. Then we got 1 copy of Unpossessed, pretty good card, you know, protect, you know, Charmers monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. So yeah, the good thing about this is that your Charmer Link monsters, they are Charmer monsters, so they cannot be destroyed by battle. So yeah, that's pretty good. And also, when a familiar possessed monster you control attacks, you know, it gains 100 attack during the damage collision. So the good thing about this card is that if you have your Charmer monsters, your Charmer Link monsters, they have their effects where they could be treated as familiar possessed cards. So they could be both as a Charmer and a familiar possessed monster at the same time, which is pretty cool. And then, you know, if you attack with one of your Charmer Link monsters, they'll be, you know, they can gain the 100 attack for this because that's to be treated as a familiar possessed card, which is pretty cool. And then the third effect says, like, if a monster you control is destroyed by battle by card effect while this card is already face up in your spells and trap zone, special summon one spellcaster monster with 1500 defense from your deck whose attribute is different from at least one of those destroyed monsters' original attribute on the field, either in attack position or face down position. So it's pretty cool. And it's a hard once per turn. Now we're going to move on to the extra deck. So the extra deck, 1 copy of Security Dragon. This is a card I put in for Dark the Dark Charmer Gloomy because Dark the Dark Charmer Gloomy, which is the Dark Charmer, because we don't have the Dark Charmer in this game, but hopefully in the future Konami can give us an update on this game, and hopefully we can get more new cards like Dark the Dark Charmer Gloomy. So once Dark the Dark Charmer Gloomy comes in this game, I will take out Security Dragon for it. But for now, Security Dragon, it's pretty good. You know, it has an effect when their monsters calling you, just target a monster calling you, just return it to hand. Then I play 1 copy of Nightmare Service, 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix, then, you know, the Nightmare package. Now for the Charmer Link monsters, I do play 1 copy of Hita the Fire Charmer Blades, 1 copy of Win the Wind Charmer Verdict, and 1 copy of IP Masquerade. Masquerade is really good, so it's pretty good. You could actually, during your opponent's main phase, you can link summon during your opponent's turn, and also has an effect where once you link summon for a Link monster, and if you use Masquerade as one of the materials, that Link monster that you summon cannot be destroyed by a card effect, which is pretty cool. 1 copy of Barricade Bolt Blocker. Blocker is pretty good because it protects your face-up spell cards from being destroyed by an opponent's card effect. Of course, if you have this with the Nightmare package like Phoenix and Cerberus, you can protect, not only that you can protect your face-up spells from being destroyed by an opponent's card effect, but also you can protect barricade or blocker from being destroyed by battle by card effects by using the effects of Phoenix and Cerberus, because remember, Phoenix and Cerberus has effect when they were co-linked with each other's. You know, you get their effects. Like Phoenix protects monsters from link monsters that was co-linked from being destroyed by battle. Cerberus can protect monsters that are co-linked from being destroyed by card effects, so that's pretty good. And for the other Charmer link monsters, one copy of Ulsa, the Earth Charmer Movable, one copy of Iria, the Water Charmer Gentle, and one copy of the Lina, the Light Charmer Lustrious. So yeah, they all have like the same effects, but only for the respective attribute. Of course, Lina is the light, Iria is water, Ulsa is earth, Hita is fire, and Wind is wind. And of course, the other Cyber Dragon, I mean, the Nightmare package. So, I'm sorry, guys. The Nightmare package we got to end up is one copy of Nightmare Unicorn. So yes, I do play Cerberus, Phoenix, and Unicorn because they're really good. The Nightmare package in this deck really good. One copy of Selene, Queen of the Masses, Magician. So Selene is really good in this deck since, you know, it really helps out the Charmers a lot. It's a really good Link 3 monster. Really good, of course. It's pretty cool because, you know, for she has an effect where, you know, if she links summon, you can place spell counters into this card and then equal to the numbers of the spells on the field and on the graveyards. And also, she has another effect that during the main phase quick effect, you can remove 3 spell counters from your field, special summon 1 spellcaster monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position to a zone that this card points to. So it's pretty good. One copy of Saruda Skull Dread, pretty good card. I like this card. One copy of Appaloosa, the Bowl of the Goaters, really good card, especially when you want to negate on a card. Of course, it's pretty cool. And the last link monster to round off the extra deck is one copy of Unchained Abomination. Abomination is really good because this is a card that lets you destroy, you know, like 3 cards. Like the first one, you know, if a card on the field is destroyed by a card effect, except by Abomination during the damage, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. When another monster is destroyed by battle, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. During the end phase, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. And of course, you get each effect of Abomination once per turn. So that's pretty cool. So basically, you can destroy up to 3 cards your opponent control, which is really cool. So I think that's pretty cool as well. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the deck profile. What do you guys think about this deck profile, guys? And that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Don't forget to like this video, share, subscribe, post your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about my Familiar Possessed Charmer deck profile on Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. That's gonna be it for this video, guys. So this is Domingo Hero Network. All I can say is take care, have a good day, goodbye everyone, and Domingo Hero Network is signing out. Peace.